Welcome back. Police in Mozambique say they have arrested 2 people over the abduction and murder of a 12-year-old boy with albinism. The suspects confessed to the murder, with one of them saying that they had killed the boy to extract his bones. Police say they are seeking the 3rd arrest of a 3rd suspect. The 12-year-old body has been recovered. He was abducted from his home in northern Nampula province last week. There has been a spate of killings of people with albinisms in part of southern and East Africa, with their body parts used to make charms and potions by witch doctors. In Mozambique, people convicted of kidnapping and killing albinos have been sentenced to up to 40 years in prison. Now, as security agencies battle to curtail acts of banditry in Zamfara State and some parts of the Northwest, a civil society group, that's the Citizens' Rights Crusade Network, is raising an alarm over what it describes as the possibility of famine in some parts of the country due to reducing agricultural activities in the area. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the spokesperson of the group, Princess Ajibola, says the situation is being aggravated by the spread of the bandits into neighboring states.
We are calling attention to the security breaches and killings going on in the country, particularly the northwest part of the country. We should have ordinarily specifically mentioned Zamfara, where so-called bandits have been wasting human lives with incessant killings. But efforts by the federal government to curtail them have seen these contracted killers fanning out into Sokoto and Katsina states. If these killings should disrupt rice production, especially in Kebbi State, then we are in for a tough time, because we know how much rice from this place means to Lagos State and the rest of Nigeria. If the crisis impacts tomatoes production, not only will we have to face the crisis of paying so much for so little, we will also face the ugly prospect of job losses in companies that rely on tomatoes from these areas for their production.
Now, Liberia's President George Weah has suspended his Deputy Information Minister Eugene Fangon for fueling ethnic divisions by referring to descendants of freed slaves as Congo Liberians. In a statement, his office says, quote, Mr. Weah's government is committed to a one country, one people policy with zero tolerance for divisive politicking or tribalism. Mr. Fangon said on social media that an anti-government protest planned for June 7 had been set up by so-called Congo Liberians, a reference to descendants of freed slaves who returned from the U.S. to found Africa's first independent republic. In a statement, the U.S. Embassy in Liberia condemned his comments as irresponsible. Around 250,000 people were killed in Liberia's civil war, which lasted from 1989 to 2003. Now, scientists say it's not too late to save biodiversity if action is taken now, after a landmark report on the devastating impact of modern civilization on the natural world was released in Paris. Known as the Global Assessment, the report found that up to 1 million of Earth's estimated 8 million plant, insect and animal species are at risk of extinction, many within decades. The largest, most comprehensive study ever undertaken into the fates of human well-being and the natural world was conducted by the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services.
There is no doubt that this is certainly the most comprehensive report ever written, with an incredible amount of detail. But at the same time, we should recognise that the basic message is the same as what the scientific community has been saying for more than 30 years. Biodiversity is important in its own right. Biodiversity is important for human well-being, and we humans are destroying it.
Really, what we would like at the end of this report is to really give the world a real message of hope. We don't want that people feel discouraged, that there is nothing that can be done, that we've lost the battle, because we have not lost the battle. And if given a chance, nature will reconquer its rights and will prevail. And so we really want everyone to feel that they can contribute, that they are part of the solution, and this is very much the main message that this report is bringing.
Mozambique has declared a cholera outbreak in the country's north after Cyclone Kenneth left a trail of destruction when it made landfall on the northeast on April 25th. The damage is extensive, and in the aftermath, thousands of people have lost their homes, their belongings and their livelihoods.
Cyclone Kenneth was one of the strongest storms recorded in mainland Africa. Although the area it hit was less populated than other parts of Mozambique, the damage and flooding along its path has been extensive. At least 38 people have been reported dead and over 160 others have been directly affected. In Nakate, a village in the district of Makomia, which was among the worst hit, most of the houses collapsed. People lost livestock, and the produce on their farms was washed away.
On Cyclone Kenneth, the World Health Organization tells us today that nearly 190,000 people are in need of health assistance or at risk of diseases in Mozambique. Kenneth was the second Category 3 cyclone to hit the country within 5 weeks. Due to the lack of accessibility, the full extent of the damage to the health system is not known. At least 17 health facilities have been damaged, but this number is expected to rise.
Kenneth struck while Mozambique was still struggling to deal with the impact of Cyclone Idai, which hammered the country's central region just 6 weeks earlier, flattening the port city of Beira and killing more than 1,000 people across Mozambique, Malawi and Zimbabwe. Officials declared a cholera outbreak in northern Mozambique on Thursday, May the 2nd, a week after cyclone winds, floods and heavy rains hit the area.
WHO is working with the Ministry of Health to carry out evaluations, and they're also working with UNICEF and have sent tents, water purification units, and other supplies. WHO team of specialists originally deployed to Beira following Cyclone Idai have now been redeployed to follow Cyclone Kenneth. WHO stresses the need for rapid action to manage the risk of cholera.
This is the first time on record that two powerful storms had hit the southern African country in such a short space of time, wrecking homes, flattening villages and destroying crops.
Well, that's it on the program today. Thanks for watching. I'm Teniola Shoboale. Bye for now.